Thanks for being here in person. Really appreciate that. Let's go to our next slide. As a tradition, we open all our meetings. Well, okay, we open our meeting with an agenda first. So what we have are a couple of welcome remarks. We have some special recognitions, and we have an ITS roadshow, something special that we've prepared for all of you. We will take a brief break, 15 minutes, and then we'll continue with our roadshow. We'll have a guest speaker, which I'm really excited about. It seemed like December's guest speaker, when we had EVCP Hunt, was well received. So we today have our Vice Chancellor for Administration, Michael Beck, joining us for a similar format. He will be talking about the administration's strategic priorities, and then we'll do a Q&A. And then we will have a team building exercise. That was another win last time. I think people enjoyed the team building exercise, so we were going to do a different one. And then we'll close our meeting. So with that, we open all our meetings with land acknowledgements. I'm going to welcome Val Trulinger, who is leading our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Working Group, to read the land acknowledgement for us.
IT Services at UCLA acknowledges the Tongva peoples as the traditional land caretakers of Tovangar and are grateful to have the opportunity to work for the Tarahat home in this place. As a land-grant institution, we pay our respects to Hunuv Gatam, Ahihirom, and Eohinkin, past, present, and emerging.
Thank you, Val. We have two special recognitions, and I've asked Val to stay with us because the first one is to recognize Val Trulinger for her tremendous work that she's been doing representing ITS as our equity advisor within the administration team. All good? So to read because she has so many amazing accomplishments, and I know if I didn't read, I would forget. Val has demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion within IT services, serving as both the leader for EDI working group within ITS and the department's representative on the Administration Equity Council. This dual role highlights Val's dedication to ensuring these values are at the forefront of our organizational culture. Over the past 2 years, Val has facilitated 123 work group meetings and attended 61 Equity Council meetings. These sessions have been instrumental in fostering open dialogues, developing strategies, and ensuring alignment with broader institutional goals. Such extensive collaboration is a testament to Val's efforts in making equity, diversity, and inclusion a central part of our mission. Val has organized several key events, including the Girl Geek X Elevate Career Fair, Mental Health Awareness Months, Learn at Lunch, a Privilege Walk, and a webinar on EDI and accessibility. These initiatives have not only raised awareness, but also significantly contributed to an inclusive culture within our department and beyond. By presenting 23 EDI segments at our all-staff meetings, Val has she has played a crucial role in elevating the importance of EDI within our daily operations. I think most of you recall our EDI segments during the all-staff meetings, which originated from a conversation we had together. These presentations have been pivotal in educating our staff and fostering a more inclusive environment. She has spearheaded the implementation of editorially across all SiteDen sites, which are our websites, enhancing the accessibility of our critical campus websites. The effort underscores Val's commitment to inclusivity and ensuring that our digital content is accessible to all. Val's contributions include the publication of an EDI holiday calendar, which she shared with us several times before, the creation of 252 EDI-related pages on our Insiders website, and the Maintenance of Equity Council's section of the Admin VC's website. These resources have been invaluable in spreading EDI knowledge and fostering a supportive community. Through initiatives like mentoring in the Imperative program and participating in Architecting Inclusion class, Val has shown a deep commitment to personal and professional growth, both for themselves and others within the organization. What Val has led, while she has led these initiatives, they constantly acknowledge the collective effort and dedication of the EDI work group. This humility and appreciation for team collaboration have been key to their success in advancing EDI initiatives. There's so much they've accomplished, and we're very thankful. This concludes Val's 2-year term serving as our equity advisor within the administration team. And just want to thank Val for all the great work. Big shoes to fill. We're working very hard to identify our next equity advisor and hope to announce that decision in the all staff meeting in 2 weeks. Only if you want.
Sure. Thank you all very much for letting me be your equity advisor. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. But big thanks must also go out to the EDI work group. I would love everybody that served in the work group, either currently or in the past, to please stand and be recognized. I could not have done any of this without the help of all of you. So thank you. I know it was a lot of work away from what people consider your real job. However, this is our real job. Making sure that everybody in the UCLA community feels welcomed and included and valued. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Might be a Norman. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that Mike Van Norman, who's been a valued leader in my leadership team, has decided to retire by the end of this fiscal year. This marks a significant milestone in UCLA's IT history. And I say this because for the last 3 decades, Mike has been a key contributor and a greatly valued colleague for many throughout UCLA. And for me personally, especially during my transition into this organization about 4 years ago. I will always be thankful for his support and want to inform you all that we will soon celebrate Mike's accomplishments and contributions to the university. We plan to have a retirement gathering after our next in-person all-staff meeting, which will be held in June. So I hope that you all can arrange to stay a little longer that day and join us in celebrating Mike's accomplishments. Thank you, Mike. More to come. Okay, I hope I'm not reading anymore. Okay, ITS Roadshow. So this is an exciting day to share with all of you what our new leadership team has been working on. You know, the idea kind of stemmed from even a conversation with one of our stakeholders. They know we're evolving as an organization, but it's not always clear as to what services are we providing, how are we structured, who are the leaders. So this idea of having a roadshow, introducing the ITS leadership team and asking them to speak a bit about their vision, what do we need to be doing? How are we getting there? This is that opportunity. So we're doing it with all of you today. And we're going to be seeking your feedback in the process. And the goal is to eventually do this for the campus community, for our deans, for our vice chancellors, for our vice provosts, and their respective teams, so they understand how to work with ITS. We are different now as an organization. Our operating model is evolving. Our services are evolving. An example of that is historically, people thought of ITS as the team that provides administrative IT support. Well, now we support our academic colleagues, and we want to make sure that the portfolio is well understood and the core services that we provide is understood throughout the campus. Before we do the roadshow, I want to take a moment to talk about UCLA's strategic vision, administration's strategic priorities, as well as ITS's strategic goals. We will talk about the data and AI as a vertical. We'll then talk about information security, strategy planning operations, as well as the Deputy CIO team. So you'll be meeting a lot of these leaders and we're going to come and go, but it'll be exciting because you'll learn a lot about what they're doing. My part is to really talk about, oh, bright light, really to talk about UCLA, the new strategic plan, creating the future, also administration's strategic priorities, and IT services strategic goals. As you see, that's a big triangle there, and things cascade from the top, right? So everything that we do at ITS is aligning is in support of our strategic goals, in turn in support of the administration's goals, as well as the overarching university strategic plan. So, okay. Bring the screen, just give me a second. That's okay, I can read. So when we talk about this way, we talk about UCLA creating the future. So you heard from Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost Darnell Hunt back in December about this exciting strategic plan. Just want to reiterate at a very high level that there are 5 key goals, pillars to the university's strategic plan. The first is to deepen engagement with Los Angeles. And the commitment here is to better serve, learn from, and connect with our LA community. The second one is to expand our research as a global university. And how we plan to do this is to expand UCLA's role as a global hub. And the goal is to become that gateway partner for LA and also for California. Enhancing our research and creative activities. This is our aspirational goal to be the leading public university for cutting edge research and creative activities. The fourth one is elevate how we teach. Pam, somehow my screen is blocked. Oh, I can do this. Okay. I got it. I didn't know if I was going to make a mess. Okay, I got it. Thank you. So elevate how we teach. This is in response to changing the needs and expectations of our students, and trying to think differently how we can modernize instructional practices for the university. Become a more effective institution. This is goal 5, and there's a lot here, but highlighting that the university is really striving to improve its systems and processes. So a lot of work for us, systems and processes, free up resources, adjust incentive structures, and modernize its technology. So this is actually calling out the work that we do and how we're going to enable the strategic plan. However, goal 5 isn't the only area where we'll be supporting to realize these strategic goals. IT is everywhere. So we will be supporting every goal in the next 2 to 4 years. And there's a lot of commitment and excitement about this plan. So the next is the administration strategic priorities. So if we go to the next slide. The 4 areas of focus: data-driven decision-making. This is a commitment to use data to gain better insights throughout the university. Technology optimization, again, a core component, core piece of the administration's strategic priorities. And it calls out the optimization and the use of technology in our core services. Sustainable workforce. This speaks to sustaining a positive work environment. And the last one is service excellence, delivering high quality service standards and support for our broad campus community. The last one is our strategic goals. There are 5 of them. I think you've seen them, but we keep bringing it up because it's extremely important. I want to make sure everything you do, you know how it ties into our goals and administration's priorities and creating the future for UCLA. So the first one is to elevate academic experience. This area, as I mentioned earlier, is new to our scope, and we want to ensure that we are doing everything possible to elevate the UCLA student faculties as well as staff experience through user-friendly solutions and meeting our end user needs and expectations. Empower the academic community with dynamic ecosystems of technologies as well as digital spaces, and you'll hear more about that. Enable business optimization. As you know, we have several in-flight projects to modernize our applications that will meet academic research and administrative needs of the university. And of course, enable strategic decision-making through integration of institutional data and analytics platforms. The third area, transform security and unify our network. A key initiative that's about to formally kick off campus-wide. And this is to address major technical and as well as non-technical challenges that hinder UCLA's overall information security maturity. And then unify systems and structures to simplify and secure the digital landscape, our ability to provide connectivity services. Reimagine IT talent, that's the change we are going through as an organization. The goal is to provide exceptional customer service and a workforce that's prepared for the type of service that's expected of us, but also accomplishing these very broad and exciting goals within the digital campus roadmap. We want to highlight that, this Reimagine IT talent isn't just creating a new org and new boxes and new job descriptions and the process that we've introduced, but it's also to really think about how we operate differently and how we focus on organizational culture that includes our EDI efforts, sustainability, and revisiting and rethinking about our values and how we demonstrate and live those. Drive operational excellence, the last one. This is champion continuous improvement, consistency, refining both business processes and technology to elevate the services that we provide. And I often speak about this, be a trusted strategic partner for the campus community. I know it's going to take time to get that trust and build that partnership with our campus community, but it's extremely important to demonstrate the value that brings to be thought of as a strategic partner and not a task taker, right? So we don't want to be told what to do. We want to be at the table from the beginning, helping our functional customers to think about what are the right solutions for them. And there's so many examples where those kinds of things can go wrong. And having IT at the table as a true partner in deciding the right solutions, whether it's from company viability perspective, from security privacy perspective, whatever it may be, it's really important that we demonstrate our value and we start to truly partner with different stakeholders that we serve. So I'm going to kick this roadshow by talking about data and artificial intelligence. This is a new role that we've talked about in our recent all-staff meetings. So let me just kind of orient you to the slide here. So up top, we have a QR code, which is where we're going to ask you to share your ideas on how we achieve our strategic goals. And this QR code will be on all our slides. So at any time you want to share anything about what we're discussing with you, please do that. But we'll also have opportunities within your tables to discuss your feedback and enter it as a group feedback. So as you know, we have introduced the Chief Data and Artificial Intelligence Officer role. This individual will be responsible for uniting our data and AI initiatives campus-wide. It is a new role in higher education. The AI leader will drive strategic integration, again, for AI and data and business intelligence in partnership with my leadership team and our extended senior leadership team. Where are we headed? This is a university-wide AI strategy and roadmap initiative. So we are thinking about AI's impact in our opportunities to explore the viability of these new functions within research, within teaching and learning, as well as within operations. It's a managed and measured portfolio of AI investments. So we're discussing partnership opportunities with several vendors and want to ensure that we have a holistic portfolio and a roadmap of our investments and engagements with vendors that offer these capabilities. A comprehensive internal and external partnerships on AI, and then improved AI fluency across all stakeholders. We recognize that, especially with Gen AI, a lot is going to change. How we run the business of higher ed, how we function as individuals in the roles that we're in. And it's extremely important to invest in AI fluency and understand how our roles can be enhanced with the use of these capabilities. How do we get there? We'll be hiring the first of the kind data and AI leader, establish an AI council. And this is something the University of California Office of the President has requested, that all UC locations establish an AI council and a framework for ethical AI practices. And we'll be implementing a variety of AI use cases in the coming year to demonstrate the value of these capabilities in support of our academic, research, and administrative endeavors. So it's a very exciting role. We're in the process of interviewing. Look forward to welcoming a new leader into the organization. In the bottom of this page, we are highlighting the 5 strategic goals of ITS's 5 strategic goals. And this vertical, the data and analytics role, and we'll be supporting the efforts to elevate academic experience, enable business optimization, as well as drive operational excellence for the university. So if you have any feedback or any questions about the role or the scope or how we get there, I want to refer you to this QR code again. And at this time, I'm going to invite Drake over to talk about information security.
Good morning. We can go straight to the next slide. So I'd like to start by just sharing our campus information security vision for the entire organization. And really that's by protecting and empowering the Bruin community by providing a more secure digital environment in support of UCLA's mission. So really when designing this vision, we felt it was very important to embody the people and the human element into the statement, right? We protect not just the business of the university, but the people within it as well. So not just the technology and tools, but all the individuals that comprise the campus. For our department scope, we'll cover those a little bit more in detail in the subsequent slides. But then our strategic focus, how we realize that vision is protecting the organization by building services and capabilities that will proactively defend and safeguard our campus. We need to be able to advance our ability to respond effectively and efficiently from cyber threats and attacks that inevitably will occur and do occur. And the last part is, really activating that culture of security mindfulness through education, training, and awareness, and really empowering all Bruins to be in a safe, secure digital space. Next slide. So within some of our department scope areas then, under our Assistant Chief Information Security Officer vertical, we're going to be housing our Information Security Operations Center team, as well as our Identity and Access Management team. And these are 2 of the critical areas. Our security operations team are the handlers of the tools and technologies that we're going to deploy to safeguard the university. They patrol the organization and protect our digital footprint. The Identity and Access Management team, right? It's going to manage the digital identity of our constituents, ensuring appropriate access to all digital data and resources. So then between where we're headed and how we get there, that's really tied with our security transformation roadmap as part of the Digital Campus Initiative. So within Identity and Access Management modernization, we strive to provide a seamless and secure user access experience for all the different ways of working and all the different constituents that make up the campus. And so through the modernization effort, we'll look at existing technologies such as our single sign-on, Shibboleth, the bright blue clouds, right? But we'll also take a look at new technologies such as how we deploy privileged access management, how we deploy identity governance and administration tools as well to more seamlessly onboard, offboard, and accelerate and enable the user experience. And by doing so, we'll get there with the security aspects as well. From the asset inventory and data classification side, it's crucial that we're able to build insight and visibility into our systems and where our data may reside. And then we can develop criticality and prioritization around how we should protect institutional data. So developing the single source of truth, this asset classification in such a sprawling campus is a challenge, but we'll be leveraging system-wide standards and policies around trying to identify where our sensitive data stores are, tying that with the data protection level, and then how resilient, how optimized, how frequently they need to be available to the campus, and then be able to, again, prioritize our security controls based off of that. And then last but not least, with our vulnerability management enhancements, we need to proactively identify and mitigate threats to the organization before they're actively exploited. So through enhancements with our vulnerability management program, we'll be able to take some of that business criticality that we're developing through asset inventory and classification to more effectively prioritize our efforts, and then also improve the efficacy and effectiveness of our detection tools through agent-based detection. And really, this work spans across all the goals you see on the bottom there, particularly with the IAM space. And as we say, security is not just a technology; it's a principle. So everything we do needs to incorporate our security principles and practices. Next slide. So with the unit information security leads, this is actually a role in the system-wide information policy. And every campus unit is actually required to designate an individual to serve in this capacity. Our implementation is really going to focus on standing this up in a way that they can be the cyber champions and conduits between our strategies centrally and what occurs down at the local units and levels. Kind of that connective tissue to then again empower the Bruin community and realize our vision of creating a safe space for all. This is a relatively new concept to UCLA. So where we're headed and how we get there is first by deploying an effective and scalable unit information security lead model. And we've been doing that through collaboration with focus groups, our IT strategic partners, to clearly outline, have discussions around what are the priorities, and then build the role and responsibility matrix from there. We also want them to be a resilient, security-minded, embrace that resilient, security-minded culture, and actually provide equitable access and expertise to all four corners of the campus when it comes to security. So by integrating USOLs into the campus, directly into the campus schools and units, we're helping address some of these deficits where faculty, staff members just don't know where to go to get the security assistance that they're looking for at sometimes. And then with that adaptive resourcing and models, right, as we launched our unit information security lead network, we need to be mindful of not just comprehensive onboarding, but as the cyber landscape changes, being intentional about developing a curriculum of training and ongoing best practices so we can evolve with the shifting landscape. Next slide. I'll close with security architecture, and that's really going to be a tiny but mighty team, and they will be focused on identifying, proposing, and designing solutions that are more forward-thinking and taking us right upstream in the security integration with frameworks and blueprints that outline our configuration standards to proactively protect and protect data and systems. They'll examine all the capabilities to ensure we're cohesively working to maximize our defense in depth strategy. So a lot of the things that they'll be headed down towards the path on are things that we foresee as up and coming technologies as we transition more of our workloads out to public or hybrid cloud computing environments, really developing a holistic cloud security strategy and integrating that blueprint across campus. And that's going to only be achievable through partnerships and compliance with system-wide standard. And again, collaborations, partners like Mikkel and our other IT strategic partners. With the zero trust strategy, this is really about providing a layered security model to critical organizational assets and services. And this is replete with opportunities currently in digital campus with network unification and identity and access management, which are such core concepts to embracing a zero trust model. And then with mobile device management, this is really thinking about that risk, right? That so much of our information probably resides in our pockets and can easily be lost, mishandled, or stolen, right? And so raising that awareness, partnering with the organization to create a mobile device enrollment program to holistically standardize the configuration and management of these devices. I think that's my last slide. I'll invite my colleague Ernesto. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I trust everybody's doing well. So this morning, or this afternoon rather, what I'd like to do is preface my discussion by first defining governance, risk, and compliance individually. So governance is a set of rules and policies, process to ensure university activities are aligned to support strategic goals. Risk, or risk management, is all about managing the risk to an acceptable level. It is a system by which we identify the risk, analyze the risk, evaluate the risk, and then treat the risk. And again, the goal is to reduce the risk to an acceptable level. So what in practice right now, what you can see is our phishing campaign. Our phishing is one of our biggest risks that we have to deal with as a university. So through our phishing campaign, we can continuously evaluate the risk, treat the risk through training, and improve our cyber compliance with, or basically our resilience with phishing. Compliance involves adhering to policies, standards, and laws set forth by industries and government agencies we deal with. So examples of those are PCI, Department of Education for FERPA, GLBA, or the FTC that we have to comply with. So now you get a holistic view of what GRC means. I can then now go into how we're going, where we're headed, and how we're going to get there. So in terms of where we're headed, we first want to focus on developing strategic cyber governance. And how we get there is through a project that develops university information security model. So basically, what we'll do is we'll update our information security policies to align with IS3 requirements. IS3 requirements are essentially the UC Systems information security policy. And what that policy details is the guidelines and the minimum set of security controls, practices, and standards for the appropriate use of university resources. Next, we'll focus on enterprise risk management, and how we'll get there is through a project to enhance our information security risk management capabilities. So to do this, what we're going to do is establish risk tolerance levels, such as key risk indicators, that we can track as indicators of evolving risks. So what we're currently doing right now through the third-party risk management is essentially an example of that. We're doing point-in-time assessments when a vendor is introduced into our environment, and then we're doing continuous monitoring to evaluate the risk and address any changes that their organization might have made as part of the relationship they have with us. Last but not least, information security compliance. How we're going to get there is by developing role and risk-based security awareness training. More specifically, we'll be creating tailored security awareness that is directly applicable to roles and responsibilities within the organization. So what that might look like is specific training related to your role as a faculty member, as a researcher, as staff, and addressing the real-time risks and concerns that you're operating with in your role or your day-to-day operation. As opposed to having this one-fits-all cyber awareness training that's generic, providing more insight into what you need to do as part of your day-to-day functions. So in summary, governance provides the rules and policies, which drives our risk management strategy and helps us demonstrate compliance with relevant legal and regulatory requirements. The GRC team is here to be your strategic partner. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to discuss in terms of GRC, please feel free to reach out. And thank you for your time. Have a great afternoon.
we're going to be offering the opportunity for breakouts as we go through today. It also gives you an opportunity to socialize with your colleagues here. So what we'd like to do is give you a few moments to just amongst yourselves kind of talk through perhaps the information that was shared today by Lucy as well as Drake and Ernesto. We'll give you a few moments. If there are things that you'd like to share through the pop-ins, you've got the QR code available as well. And then we'll return in about 5 minutes and we'll start going through the rest of the presentation. Thank you so much. All right, if we can bring everyone back. All right, we'll get started with strategy, planning, and operations next. All right, good morning. My name is Jennifer Ferry, ACIO Strategy, Planning, and Operations. For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you that do know me, welcome again. Delighted to be here today and even more excited to present out to you these strategic direction that we have for strategy, planning, and operations. We are a very broad team here in strategy planning. I always think about our team as a shared service within a shared service, and it's a delightful place to be because we have the unique opportunity to work with everyone across the organization. Within strategy planning, there are a number of key areas that we cover off. Enterprise program management. We also cover off organizational change management, the administrative function within ITS, as well as our digital campus roadmap. We have 5 key objectives that we follow. The first is steering the digital campus roadmap, which we'll go into in a moment. We also help foster strategic leadership as it relates to IT partnerships, as well as governance across the university. We also provide services around the Enterprise Program Management Office, as well as of our Organizational Change Management, COE. And then finally, it's strengthening the fiscal management as well as sustainability of our organization. And then anchor to our entire organization is the team here that we have here in the room. And it's supporting our cultivation of talent and fostering culture that embraces not only our UCLA True Boon values, but those that we collectively came together as part of our ITS core values. So what I'd like to do is take a moment and talk about a couple of these key pillars. The first one being digital campus enablement. I'd love to see a show of hands in the room for those of you who are part of the digital campus roadmap. I think we should have almost everyone in the room with their hands raised. Everyone in the room should have their hands raised. So why do I say that? When I think about the role that strategy planning and operations plays as it relates to the digital campus roadmap, we are an enabler. We provide the rigor and the structure around the programming that we put into the digital campus, but everyone here in the room, as well as our partners across the campus, are part of this strategic vision. And I do hope that all of you feel a part of it as well as invested in it, because it's an amazing journey that we're all on. So when we talk about the digital campus roadmap, there are a couple of key components that we have included here. From a strategic perspective, you can think of the digital campus enablement function as providing scaffolding around the buildings that we're standing up. And when I say that, first and foremost, we are starting to build out the business cases that speak to the value that each of these different programs will enable for the university, as well as ensuring that we have strategic alignment across the university as it relates to the direction that we're headed. That's part of not only the teams that we enable here within the organization, but the partnerships and governance that we establish across the campus. In turn, it's also ensuring that we have the right financial and vendor management in place to support our projects. And then finally, when it comes to team enablement, it's leveraging the capabilities and expertise that we have across our ITS organization. That's why everyone here raised their hand, as well as leveraging the partnerships that we have across the campus because of all the functional expertise that we have here at UCLA. In turn, the strategy planning and operations team also supports all the program, as mentioned earlier, as well as organizational change management that we have relative to our roadmap. And that's enabled through the two teams that we are standing up. Gabe Schmoon will come up and talk to you about the Enterprise Program Management Office, and Renchi Thomas will also come here and talk about our organizational change management COE and all of the frameworks as well as enablement that those two functions will provide to the overall roadmap that we're deploying across the university. And then finally, when it comes to implementation, strat planning and operations supports project delivery, as well as quality assurance and sustain. And what do I mean by that? You know, as I mentioned earlier in my analogy, if we have a building and we're putting scaffolding up around it, it's ensuring that we're going through all the right protocols so that the building stands up, as well as when we are complete with the project and we're pulling away that scaffolding, it can stand on its own. So it's really kind of taking it up across and ensuring that we have provided a service to the university that can stand and has sustainability, and that we can do ultimately a partnership and handoff with our business partners as well as academic units as it relates to the overall programs and projects that we're deploying as part of this strategy. And then finally, it's the reporting. This has been a key focus area for us as it relates to all the work that we're doing under this umbrella. And that's ensuring that we have complete transparency as it relates to the health of the programs, not only as it relates to project delivery, but also the fiscal management that comes hand in hand with these large scale programs. So you can see there's quite a lot of work here. And you know, another analogy that I like to use about the digital campus roadmap, as many of you may or may not know, Gabe is a huge F1 fan. So I don't know if there are any of those in the room, but if you think about F1, we're the pit crew that kind of comes up, but everyone in this room is a part of, you know, the driver, the car, etc. So we are here to support the functions that we have not only within ITS, but across the university and the enablement of these initiatives. So relative to that, I then want to take a quick turn before I hand it over to Gabe and Aaron and talk about a key component that we have within strategy planning and operations, and that's our administrative office. Equally important to the work that we do as part of our programs and projects, as well as the change that we support around that, we have key areas that are enabled by, I'll use another word or underscore word that Drake used earlier, and that's tiny but mighty team. This is an amazing team of individuals that support the finance and procurement that we have within our organization. And that's not only budget management, cost optimization, procurement, vendor management, the investment planning that we are currently underway. You know, as we deploy these projects that are part of our, you know, not only our digital campus portfolio of work, it could be any of the work that we're doing to manage the ongoing operations of our organization, as well as our OpEx portfolio that we'll talk about shortly. It's also ensuring that we're getting a return on those investments ultimately and what that delivers to UCLA. And then finally, it's the strategic partnerships that we're trying to develop with those that we source, whether it be products or services from, so that, again, they become extended members of our team and we can work hand in hand on our goals. A couple of things that we'll do to enable that. We will be deploying an initiative, Reimagine IT Finance, and we'll be working with many of you across the organization as it relates to ensuring that we've brought the right transparency, visibility, as well as administration of our budget, not only from an operational perspective, but capital as it relates to the investment that we spoke to earlier. Next up, we have talent management, and I know that many of you work very closely with our talent management team across the organization. This individual group will be helping to support the stand-up of the new ITS operational model that Lucy spoke to earlier. And in turn, this is enabled by Reimagine IT Talent in all the different dimensions that we've shared, whether that be the new organizational design. It could also include the support of our EDI practices, the development of our learning paths that we're looking to administer across the entire organization based on where people are within their professional journey, as well as the goals that they have for themselves. It also includes all of the work that we're doing around the stand-up of the different functions that we have across the organization. But it's supporting this entire organization start to finish from a people management perspective. And then we are introducing a new vertical talent development, and this will be focused on, as we mentioned earlier, culture, as well as core skill, technical skills, and leadership learning pathways. We're using a framework called ITS Academy, but this will include a number of different tools as well as opportunities that we're going to be bringing to the organization to help us along in our pathway. To perhaps share what Lucy was talking about yesterday in our orientation, one of the key reasons that people often would cite, if you will, about perhaps why they transition out of ITS is that they were looking for development opportunities. So there's going to be a keen focus on providing those learning opportunities for folks as we move forward. And all of that will be performed as you work with your people leaders, your managers, as it relates to the goals that you have and how we can help you meet those. And then finally, our administrative services team, which quite honestly, every one of you are working with on a daily basis as well. And that's to manage the facilities as well as the administrative services that we have here in ITS. All right. So with that, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come up and speak. And I'll turn it over to Gabe Shamoon.
Hello, everyone. And I'm not an official spokesperson, but Drive to Survive season 6 is out now on Netflix. So please feel free to, venture over there at your earliest convenience. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gabriel Shamoon. I am the director over the Enterprise Program Management Office. It's great to see a lot of new faces as well as a lot of familiar faces. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, so I'm going to play like a Formula One racer and zoom through this. Happy to, take the time, whether it be through Slack or Zoom, to go through all of these in some additional depth with anybody who's interested. So what is the EPMO? The EPMO, really in short, in collaboration with our Organizational Change Management Center of Excellence, is a key campus partner focused on aligning and executing our digital campus roadmap, as well as our operational excellence portfolio with the organization's strategic objectives. So how do we be a good campus partner, and how do we, where are we headed? I was going to say, how do we get there? So this first starts through portfolio optimization. It's really just a fancy way of saying that we want to be thoughtful and deliberate when planning holistically against all the projects that we have in the portfolio. We want to be consistent and transparent in our efforts to be good stewards of the funding our organization has entrusted to us to execute and support all of the initiatives. And then we want to understand what details and success criteria matter most to our constituents around campus. Next, through an EPMO operating model and standards, we begin to notice a little bit of a theme here. We want to really be, we want to have a consistent approach to how we execute projects within the overall operating model that we're developing. And then finally, last but not least, with customer success, that really means that we're focusing on partnerships across campus, ensuring that partners understand how we do what we do as an enterprise program management office, and most importantly, focusing on customer satisfaction. Because for those of you who are, across IT services, that delivering the technology is ironically the easy part. Adoption is actually the difficult part and the key success metric that we want to make sure to deliver across campus. So, this is all well and good. How do we actually get there? First, we'll be rethinking portfolio optimization overall end to end. That means focusing on how we intake and prioritize all of our initiatives while effectively communicating with our campus partners, and rethinking how we manage and deploy people and, the funding that we've been entrusted with across that portfolio overall. Next, our focus is going to be really on operationalizing the EPMO. That is, we talk about toolkits a lot, and what that really is, it's our tool belt. How do we show up to each project? How do people have the tools that they need and the skills that they need to be successful across every initiative in a consistent and thoughtful way? And then finally, how do we achieve customer success? Really, this is where our partnership with the Organizational Change Management Center of Excellence is really going to shine through. And that's partnering with OCM to know how to best engage our campus partners and when to engage them through development, of an associated communication approach and, communicating the overall life cycle that we have as a part of the project and program management life cycle. And then finally, co-creating what success means with our campus partners and meeting our service promises. So with that, it's again great to see you all. I will invite my colleague, Erin Renshie-Thomas, up here to talk about the Organizational Change Management Center of Excellence. Thanks, everyone.
Good afternoon, all. I don't know sports and I don't have any fun Netflix recommendations, so I apologize for that in advance. Erin Renshie-Thomas, lovely to see you all and meet some of the new faces. I'm here to talk a little bit about OCM, Organizational Change Management. So first and foremost, what is OCM? What is Organizational Change Management and what are we here to do? This team is really here to help assess change impact as well as to devise minimization strategies. In other words, how can we make the change a little less challenging for folks as they're going through it? We collaborate on projects and organize training for various applications as well as systems. In my case, I'm going to go from left to right, from the where we are headed to how do we get there, since I have a point and a counterpoint on each side. So stay with me. First up, from an optimization standpoint, we are going to align on strategic change, and we will be doing that very closely with the EPMO, as Gabriel mentioned earlier. And how do we get there? We get there through the delivery of an OCM strategy that's really the right fit, that ensures that we are not using a one-size-fits-all approach. One size usually doesn't fit most or even like a quarter of folks or groups. And so we really want to make sure that we are utilizing the correct strategy at the right time. Next up, change effectiveness metrics as well as reporting. And the way to get there really is to have a measurement strategy to ensure that what we are doing is truly working and is truly creating and providing the value that the campus community needs. Next, we have change impact management. And the way in which we get there is to create a change heat map strategy to really understand what the levels of change, the types of change, the scope of change is that's happening across campus. Next, we have change agility. And the way that we get there is through the capability or change capability building, and that's from a campus-wide perspective. Next up, we have our actual operating model. So with that, we are going to create formal governance structures. And in order to get there, we've got to create what those governance standards as well as those processes truly look like. Next up, we've got our OCM standards and methodologies in which we will create and curate what those strategies, processes, procedures are through an OCM COE toolkit, similar to what Gabriel mentioned. It's really our tool belt that we will use as we go into different projects to ensure that we have the right tools at the right time in the right place. Next up, we have our change agent network strategy. And in order to get there, to make sure that we are preparing folks to be champions of change, we will have our change management training as well as certification. And the last bucket we have is customer success, the reason why we're all here. So first up, we are headed toward change readiness and adoption. And in order to get there, we will create stakeholder mapping, to really understand who our stakeholders are, where they are, and what type of services and support they need. Next up, we will create feedback loops. And in order to get there, we will create an engagement strategy to ensure that folks know that they have a place to go where they can provide the feedback to let us know what's working and what needs some improvement. And finally, customer success metrics. And in order to get there, we will be creating adoption targets as well as service level agreements. Okay, sorry, I was getting my orders. So next up, I am going to introduce Veronica Garcia, who will take over the next section of the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to join. Today, we're going to talk about, let me get us. There we go. Today, we're going to talk about the WDCIO organization, a group of 8 teams across products, services, enablement, and support. And first, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about how you translate mission into action. As we really see that as a focus point for us as we think about the extraordinary amount of change in front of us. 50 years ago, the company Patagonia, have any of you ever heard of Patagonia? Was founded to be in the business of saving the planet. And 50 years later, a little less than 50 years, they turned the company over into a trust for environmental benefit. All of the company's proceeds, 50 years later, are realizing that goal. Amazon was founded 30 years ago as Earth's most customer-centric company. And when the supply chain of the world didn't work to get the goods that we all desire to your front doorstep, they completely rethought supply chain to do that. UCLA was founded 104 years ago. And I want to share an excerpt from the first yearbook. In 10 years or in 20, we shall look in amazement upon its development, for it is certain to be greater, far greater than the imagination of any of us can foresee. And that vision has brought us to this point today. So why is this important? As a 7-time #1 public institution, we are part of that process where students, staff, faculty decide, is this an excellent place to work? We are part of that every day. And so when we think about bringing together this group of 8 disciplines across products, services, and enablement, we really want to focus on one thing, and that is putting the customer at the center of personalized, seamless, but extraordinary digital and support experiences. And everything that we'll do from this point forward will really be in focus of being UCLA's most customer-centric service. So as we sort of talk about or think about what does that actually mean? How does that translate to the actions that we're going to take? The answer is it's everywhere. It's in how we work. It's in how we frame out our the changes that we make and how we conceive of design and products. And so as you see here, we have a few areas that really drive that home. The first is really to be human-centered in our approaches in the way that we align the digital experience to customer needs. So what does human-centered mean? Well, human-centered design is really the process of placing users or customers at the center of design. And everything we do involves decisions about how an experience works. So just starting by thinking about what does this feel like and how do we navigate the backend infrastructure, configurations, integrations to make this easy. That's how we create extraordinary seamless experiences. When we think about what it is to navigate or wayfind this really incredible change in life, to go to college, to learn, it's about personalized, modern, and customer-centered products. It's about putting together the data backed up by an incredible infrastructure, whether it be cloud or locally deployed, in a way that our services understand and support the journey that a student, staff, or faculty are on. And that involves using leading operational models, whether it's Agile, whether it's DevOps, whether it's human-centered design, whether it's problem solving or support capabilities that allow us to have the information we need at our fingertips. And at a very high level, the place that we start is by working together and dissolving silos. One of the most exciting things about the DCIO organization for myself is that we get a chance to bring diverse points of view, diverse delivery, products, data, infrastructure, and enablement capabilities together to decide how do we solve this problem. And that ultimately is the challenge. How do we chase that wonderful experience that helps someone decide, yes, this feels like the #1 public institution. And that's by integrating our roadmaps and talking and advising and bringing you all into the conversation as we've done. So I encourage you to use the QR code. It's not just for questions, it's for ideas as well. And I want to leave you with this before we introduce our next speaker, which is that if we can navigate how we do this work together and we can navigate how to solve these problems, then that really allows our customers to to be at the center of their learning, teaching, research, experience. And so today you're going to hear from 8 different leaders who are going to really zoom in a little more on what does that look from each particular area. And the hope is that as you're listening, you're dropping ideas, it's sparking conversation, it's really allowing you to take in what we're saying and think about what does it mean to be a customer-centric organization that's focused on simple, personal, and extraordinary experiences. So with that, we'll start with our first enablement vertical, Mika, and Digital Foundry. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you. A lot of new faces for me. My name is Mikel Echeverria. I lead our newly created Digital Foundry team. And I know one of the questions I've been getting a lot over the last 2.5 months is, what is the Digital Foundry? Why do we even need one, right? And it really aligns with what Veronica was just talking about around becoming a product-centric, customer-centric organization. So I will double-click a little bit on the Digital Foundry and how we become an enabling team to you all and the organization. So we're still on Veronica's, no? Oh, I have Veronica's, okay, sorry. So our main mission really is to accelerate the adoption of cohesive practices across teams, but also accelerate industry-leading practices across teams. So how are we going to do that? We're going to focus on several pillars. Let's start talking about, all right, perfect. Let's start talking about product strategy. So we're moving towards a product-centric organization. What we have about, yeah, I don't know, I have the little thing there. Thank you. So we're moving towards a product-centric organization. We're going to have over 20 product teams. This is new to us, right? We're hiring a little over 20 product managers and product owners. Now the question is, how are we going to work together, right? How will the flow of work look like throughout all those product teams? What are going to be the interaction models between the product teams and infrastructure? Well, we have to start defining those, co-creating those. So that is something that from a product strategy perspective, we're going to help the product teams, and we're going to be a resource for all the product teams to help shape that together. Now, an important piece is there that we do need to look for cohesiveness, not necessarily exactly the same. There's no one size fits all, but we are going to be fostering that cohesiveness across product teams. Product teams, we are also now looking at shaping the vision and shaping the roadmaps. And what we are going to be supporting here is the teams on ideating and having sessions around building those roadmaps. What is going to be important is what Veronica was saying. How do we also help teams to bring the voice of the user as well as the voice of the customer? But how do we bring the voice of the user to the forefront from ideation to adoption to monitoring later? So that's in the product front. Human-centered, and I was talking a little bit about that. Our community really expects accessible, frictionless, and really delightful digital experiences. We're talking about Amazon right now, right? That's the expectation. So how do we move towards that? Putting the user first. So we will be working with product teams to bring that human-centered lens from bringing user insights and leveraging user research data to ideate and prioritize roadmaps and then drive the design of those features. Now, human-centered design does not end with product design. We want to
shape and help shape the organizational culture so that conversations start with the user. All right. Let's talk about cloud engineering and architecture. These are maybe a little more technical than the other ones. And the Digital Foundry is going to serve as a hub for capability incubation. So I'm just going to leave you with some very practical examples on what that means for these three verticals. In cloud, we are talking about cloud first, but what does that even mean? If I ask 20 people what cloud first means, I'll get a different answer. So we're going to start with shaping that strategy, that vision, articulating cloud first, and then supporting cloud adoption, readiness, and migrations with all the projects that are coming. If we talk about engineering and DevOps, we need to move towards an iterative design. And that means that our engineering practices will need to adapt to the product teams and the iterative design. And we have the opportunity to bring automation to that. And lastly is solutions architecture. You heard Drake before saying how there is security architecture, there's also network architecture. Our goal is going to be to bring together the architects and the application solution architects to really build future-proof solutions in the future. So thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Veronica.
Hi, everyone. Very good to see all of you. My name is Hilda Duggan, and I'm the Executive Director of Enterprise Data and Analytics. Let me do as I was told. We're all learning, see? I know that I don't need to convince anyone in the room how critical data is and how it can advance and support the work that you each do. I don't think a day goes by where I don't hear someone ask a question and then follow it up with say, I'm a data person. And they smile because they know the data will lead them to the right decision and help them inform the best outcome. And one of the common themes I think you're going to hear with all my colleagues today is when they present, data is always playing a critical role in how they make decisions. So I'm very proud to be leading the group and spearheading campus-wide initiatives in data and analytics. And as an organization, we are looking to shape the data culture at UCLA and enhance institutional decision-making processes. Enterprise data and analytics is comprised of many critical functions, including database administration, data integration, APIs, and of course, advanced analytics. Our goal is to take a collaborative partnership approach across UCLA so that we're looking to advance the mission through data and analytics. And when we look at how we're going to advance the mission for UCLA, our efforts are going to be organized across three critical pillars that you see up here on where we are headed. And it starts by building the data foundation to store and secure UCLA's data assets. Then it begins to develop a data and analytics governance model to demonstrate the proper use of these data assets, and which helps us then form an analytics operating model to allow us to act based on these data assets that we have. And at a high level, we have initiatives in flight to support these three pillars, starting with formalizing a UCLA-wide data governance model to align our priorities and solve pervasive data issues. I think another equal topic that I hit every day in my work days is data governance. Where is that? How are we going to form it? And so it's something that we're very focused on delivering. We're eager to move forward in a collaborative approach within our successful IT governance structure to stand up a committee and prioritize data governance. Additionally, what we've done with the UCLA Data Lakehouse, something that we've previously presented in other meetings, it is something that's going to be critical to our data foundation and how we work through. I'm thrilled to note that our major programs, including Ascend, have leveraged the benefits of a shared data repository architecture, and the financial data stored in the UCLA Data Lakehouse is part of the critical path to the program's success. And when I mentioned shaping the data culture at UCLA, a major component of that will be establishing standard data management processes to improve data literacy across the institution. We need to have common definitions across these data domains to allow us to measure student success, staff retention, course assessments, and so many other use cases that I know we're all thinking about on a daily basis. And providing an analytics platform to enable data-informed decision-making through real-time actionable insights is where the work that we've put in to develop a strong data foundation comes to fruition. And we want to provide the capabilities to unlock our data in a visually intuitive and intelligently integrated format, and really set the course for AI readiness in mind to support exciting initiatives that we're already hearing about. We have a lot of work ahead. It's important and exciting, and we're look forward to sharing our progress as we navigate through this journey. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it over to Alana.
All right. Hi, everybody. Alana Intonato, Executive Director of Academic Technology. Before I get into the slide, I just want to context the way I think about academic technology, not only here at UCLA, but across higher education. I like to think about it as a collaborative spirit of both education and innovation. That's what we do. That's how we partner. That's how we think. And so the way that I like to describe this, I'm just going to read a little from the slide right now, which is that academic technology designs, delivers, improves products, as Mikkel just talked about, platform serving the backbone of academic functions across the student and faculty lifecycle. This includes critical functions such as admissions, financial aid, student records, and engagement, billing, accounts receivable, right? That backbone, those things that students have to do to take courses here. It also encompasses the management integration of Interfolio, Opus, Brew and Learn, along with many other tools that we currently have or might have in the future, ensuring comprehensive, effective digital ecosystem for all of our academic communities. We don't do this alone, right? We do this with colleagues you just heard from. Hilda mentioned data. I'm going to talk about data a lot. We're going to talk about partnerships with teams you're going to hear from next. And so I'm going to get a little bit more into where are we headed here. So the first area we're headed, which is personalize and simplify student and faculty experiences by integrating institutional data with individual preferences. And when I say personalize, I think of a few things here. I think about using data for academic performance, course preferences, learning styles, extracurricular interests beyond the classroom, providing customized pathways, and that can look a million different ways based on who you are, where you've come from, why you're here, making those recommendations, and more importantly, support services for our student population. When I think about simplify in there, how do we simplify these experiences? We're talking about processes, which we had talked about earlier and we'll continue to talk about here, but also interactions that make them more efficient and user-friendly. So what does that look like from a student perspective? Easier for students to navigate their educational journey, which is their own journey, right? For faculty, it might be easier access to teaching resources, grading tools, administrative tasks, and integrating data that can help automate some administrative functions of the faculty member that they need to do so that they can spend more time on their teaching, research, and service. Those are the types of things we're looking to enable. Those are the types of things we're looking to do here. Secondly, student success platforms, providing real-time analytics and actionable insights that enhance decision-making. What might that look like or feel? Throughout their academic journey, the student life cycle here, that might be engagement, that might be retention rates, that might be facilitating communication between students, faculty, and administration, that might even mean advising. If you're not familiar, the college has around 21,000 students, has 15 advisors. Think about that ratio. What can we do here in ITS to support student success from advising and beyond, as well as support teaching practices to strengthen programs to serve diverse populations. We know the population here at UCLA is changing, not only with demographics of our student population, but the expectations they have from technology, the expectations they have from one another and society. Increase awareness here of campus-wide technologies available to support academic activities. There are hundreds and thousands of tools on campus. How do we think about partnering with customer success and other teams to make sure that people are aware of the tools that are available to them? And then lastly, we're headed towards leveraging product management for our customer-centric releases and enhancements, and Veronica and Mikkel talked about that a little bit. So how are we going to get there? We're going to develop a product strategy and roadmap for an ecosystem of academic products to tailor that student experience I talked about. using intelligent tools and analytics. And that could be tools, again, that we currently have or new acquisitions. We're going to establish the Academic Technology Committee as part of our formalized IT governance group, consisting of the Teaching and Learning Center, students, digital spaces, other areas where we're enhancing and thinking about the student and faculty experience. We're going to always, and I think this is really important here, to build on our operational excellence, things that we're currently doing to deliver our core business functions. We're going to establish some frameworks, some shared ways of working for prioritization and releases of these SaaS products, but also custom development. And then last, but certainly not least here, is to promote effective, innovative, and inclusive instruction through human-centered approaches and designs. I believe the next thing that we're going to do. Yeah. Oh, Cameron's gonna go. Okay. All right. Sorry, I thought we were going to do a break, but we're going to go to Cameron next. So nice to see all of you. If you have any questions, please fill out the pop-in. Speak to you soon.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'll promise we'll have a break after this. It's good to see you all. My name is Cameron Kirzat, and I'm the executive director of business applications. Also, just a little bit about business information technology. Business information technology manages the life cycle of digital solutions, optimizing productivity, collaborations, financial management, and HR processes. Also collaborating with stakeholders and leadership, bid and ensures technical services meet evolving business needs, delivering integrated digital tools for increased efficiency and user satisfactions. And if you look at I'm sorry. Okay, here it is. So where we are headed. So we are enhancing and modernizing our institutions' business solutions to improve efficiency, agility, user experience. Also, we are offering modern and robust collaboration tools for our students, staff, and faculty, and also leveraging automations technologies to reduce manual workload for staff, stakeholders, and end users. And also strategizing on product strategies and roadmaps for customer-centric products and releases. So how do we get there? So as you all know that we're going through modernization effort, we are implementing our cloud business solutions. We're actually in the middle of Ascent 2.0 implementation, which replaces our legacy financial systems and procure-to-pay systems. Also, additionally, and that's being replaced with the Oracle ERP Cloud and Jagger. We also additionally replacing with the HRIT optimization systems modernizations. We are replacing our legacy people admin with SaaS solutions business products, like JD Expert, iCIMS, and HRSD. And I was mentioned actually earlier today that I have to mention this, that we just went live with the iCIMS, which is the application tracking system. So congratulations to you all. I would like to also mention that as part of this ongoing modernizations efforts, we are specialized in designing and hosting websites utilizing cutting-edge technologies such as Pentium, WordPress, and Drupal. And as part of our modernization of our collaboration tools, we are consolidating productivity and collaboration tools like Office 365, Slack, Zoom, Box, Google Workspace, and several others, unifying and standardizing campus platforms for seamless collaborations and enhanced operation efficiency. With AI and automation technology, I am very excited to say that we are implementing and offering Microsoft Copilot for Office 365, Microsoft Edge, and GitHub. Also introducing Gemini for Google Workspace. So we are also co-piloting testing automation for future product releases and upgrades. And to upskill and prepare our staff, we have renewed our Pluralsight training subscription and expanding our offering to include LinkedIn Learning Oracle training, AWS certification, as well as our staff enrichment and leadership programs. And lastly, we are thrilled to introduce our new CRM teams powered by Salesforce and ServiceNow. This initiative replacement represents a significant step forward in optimizing our business processes and delivering exceptional service. This implementation and enhancement of these platforms will not only boost our productivity, but also elevate our ability to meet and exceed customer expectations. Thank you.
And now, we're going to give everyone, it does say 5 minutes for a brief moment to talk amongst your tables, amongst your colleagues, but we'll also give you a moment to break if you want to just stretch your legs, get a cup of coffee, and we'll regroup in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is John Crumbler, Executive Director for Customer Success. So great to see you all today. I'm going to talk a little bit about our unit here. You know, when we think about customer success, it's actually a pretty traditional unit. We've got service desk, desktop support or endpoint solutions, ITSM, IT operations center. And that sort of group, what we're really focused on is an element of the experience about how the customer feels. That idea about, there's that sort of quote around, people may forget what you've done or what you said, but they'll remember how you feel. That idea is really definitive for us in this, in navigating through this change. And how we want people to feel when they interact with customer success, but also with ITS, we want them to feel supported. That really comes through our operations. That has a lot to do with not only how we interact, but with how we support each other, how we support our teams, and support ourselves, and how we show up in those engagements. I think if we're doing that over time, luckily in customer support and customer success, we have a lot of opportunities to help people think about ITS as a center of support. Ideally, over time, as we continue to engage with our customers, they start to think of us when they're in those moments of need, not just as IT support, not just as the IT staff and organization, but it's a group that really cares about your experience and cares about supporting people. I think that gives us an opportunity to be a center of gravity for support around campus. And it's something I really hope to build upon. But that's not something that just happens by magic. We don't just show up and start conveying that over the calls. Something that we have to have by means of process and structure as well. When we look at supporting clients, it's not just clients out on the campus community, but out to everyone here in the room as well. So when we're looking at our colleagues within Tier 2 and Tier 3, everyone here in this room, we're trying to figure out how we as customer success can support you as well. And that means bringing the right sort of insights to your tables so that you can make the right decisions, make the right changes, make the right adaptations in what we're deploying out to campus, and even in our ways of working. Ideally, customer success is working in a way where we're providing insights that can help you as you're developing your ways of working around product management, product-centered activities. We're going to be able to bring some more information around prioritization, around even kind of directly into feature requests and into that process. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So when you're able to action against it, that's something that then is then feeding back into that customer experience and helping us on the support side, making sure that we've got the right sort of engagement. And again, when someone calls in, they feel supported by our organization. There's a question about how then. How do we accomplish that? Structurally, there are some things that we want to be able to get in place here on the how do we get there. One thing that we really need, and we really want to be able to provide this, is to not only support campus, support our peers, but we need to be able to support our staff. We need to support the staff within customer success. So our team needs to feel supported by the right level of access, the right structures, the right access to individuals within our organization, and access to knowledge. So a fundamental element of this is frontline knowledge support or knowledge management. Our knowledge management system is something that we're really putting a lot of chips into. And when we're connecting every customer engagement with a knowledge asset that says, here's exactly what we did, and here's exactly the language that the customer used to request this support, we're able to build a lot off of that. And a lot that actually feeds really naturally into AI capabilities as well. So that's the support structure that we're going to be putting in place. It's all centered around this idea of really centering knowledge at the front of our support interactions. But also just supporting our staff, we need to make sure that they feel connected to the organization. So over time, what you're going to see is some of our support staff at the service desk, our staff within desktop support and endpoint solutions, you'll see them closer to your teams, kind of learning more about what's happening in your areas, ideally showing up in some of your standing meetings as well, so that we can make sure we know what's coming on your roadmaps, bring that closer to the customer, bring that closer to that frontline experience. I think that really comes to a head around service transitions. And in there, we're getting into ITSM as well. So as we're progressing through with all of the projects that we're pushing through, we want to really be there, not only at the end, but throughout the experience of the project, to make sure that we've got a really seamless transition over into operations. And that's not just training the frontline staff, but also making sure it's represented the right way within our ITSM tools as well. We've gone through that process to make sure the team's able to take on what sustainment operations look like once that project team starts to move on to the next assignment. I think the last thing, oh, am I over? I'm super over. All right. So the last thing I'll share, there's actually like a cultural part of this too that's just so important. And I just wanted to share this out because customer success is not something owned by our area, even if we've got that name. Customer success is part of how we all show up, right? And we're sort of stewards of that experience. We want to learn how this is happening throughout the organization. But for us, the way that we go into this on the customer support side, these are pretty direct mantra for this. It's be honest, be kind, achieve results. Like when we're centered around that, being honest means we've got the data, we're confident in the data, we're able to represent the truth. But we're doing so in a kind way. And it's really important to have that balance. That's part of where we come into this organization. Hope that as we start to work along, be honest, be kind, achieve results, that's something that you all will feel in the organization as part of the culture shift that we have in our group. So looking forward to working with all of you. And I believe I'm sending it over to Jim.
The short straw that gets to follow John. Great, here we go. Hey, party people. I'm Joe Way. I am the Executive Director of Digital Spaces. And what is Digital Spaces? The greatest title ever that I have, because it tells you nothing about what I do. Sorry, information in the corner. Digital Spaces is the projectors, it's the microphones, it's the technology in the classrooms and our event spaces. But it's actually a lot more than that. When we all went into the pandemic, we all know the world changed, but actually higher education changed forever. What we used to look at as classrooms where you would go and you would sit and be forced to pay attention to a talking head changed, right? All of a sudden, students who would sit there and learn recognize that they now can have a say in the way technology can be delivered to them, right? They all went home and they said, oh, great, I'm going to start taking in my lessons via, this Zoom thing, which the fun fact is the only people that have problems with Zoom, right, are our faculty and our staff. This generation has been on FaceTime, has been on TikTok, has been on Snapchat for years. They were the ones who actually understood hybrid learning, right? It was us who had to catch up. We used to tell them what have to go on. And so as we started to come back into the campus, we now had to adapt our teaching and learning to the way they want to learn, right? The next demographic that's coming in are now content consumers. And we have a duty now to be able to take that aspect of them and their personality and to take all of our technologies and focus them on them. So getting back to what Digital Spaces is, the classrooms, but we are, I consider us kind of the golden corral of AV because we have a whole smorgasbord of our AV team right over here in the corner. I don't know, big round of applause, you know, pulling off today. But we also have our digital signage. We have all of our classroom support, but we also have this recognition that when we send everybody online, that the technology that they wanted, they started recognizing that recording, lecture capture, were all ways that we could deliver to them in ways that things were accessible. We never paid attention to accessibility prior. We never paid attention to sustainability. We never paid attention to digital access and digital equity. And these are all things that came about. And that's what digital spaces is about. While we deliver our services in a physical space where we actually have boots on the ground, the purpose of what we do is actually different. So where we're heading is really this holistic look at technology delivery and academic technology delivery. Let's take 2 minutes. I see it right there. I'm doing good. I'm right on this thing. But we want to be able to bring a best-in-class service to our customers. We're going to do that by looking at our technologies, bringing them from physical into the cloud, utilizing network-based technologies, Zoom technologies, that really can work with a lot of the other things you've already heard already, be able to work with our academic technology, integrate with our LMS, be able to bring lessons and events to where people are. With looking at our new South Bay campus and our Lake Arrowhead Convention Center, can we link these things so that we can have faculty and researchers around the world come and be able to speak to our students where they are, whether they're here on campus or they're somewhere else out in the world. That's what we're going to start to do. We're going to bring the level of our technologies up. We're going to bring the level of our service up, the way we work with our customers, be able to work cross-collaboration with all of our campus partners from the Teaching and Learning Center, Housing and Hospitality, everyone that goes together can work together because the student experience is no longer just the classroom. The 10% of time that they're here, it is group learning spaces. It's their being able to go to the coffee place, whatever it is right up here. It's called the study hall, something like that, where they can work together and they want to be able to learn together, watch a class together, review together. And we can bring those lessons to them. So that's how we're going to do it. We're going to bring an enterprise digital signage platform for better communication across our enterprise, be able to create governance for the academic technology and the digital, wait 6 seconds, I see it. Roll out enterprise digital signage, the audiovisual technology governance so that we have more standardization across our enterprise right now. We have way too many different technologies. I feel bad for students and faculty who walk into a room and don't even know what they're going to walk into. It's not a standardized experience. Can we actually standardize that so that it is consistent and holistic for them? And of course, B, the go-to, 0, I'm done. And next up, so that's digital. Oh, I love it. Next up, playing the part of Richmond NY, we have Veronica Garcia.
I request my song for the end. Yes, I'm not Rich today. Rich sends his regards. He wasn't able to join today, but really, really wanted to be here. And I want to acknowledge the time and effort that he put into this. So I'm going to do my best to share some of the really key ideas that Rich wanted to share. Firstly, when we talked about the introduction for the DCIO organization, what we talked about was transformative infrastructure. Infrastructure, whether it's across how we deliver services in this area or data, and really bringing that all together through enablement. We see the heart of what it means to be digital as really centered in this group. This group is leading the pack in terms of how we, as we say, shift left. And that's really bringing everyone to the starting line, connecting all of our initiatives back to the point at which we say, in order to do some of the things Joe's talking about, is our network set up to be able to do that? What do students care about? How many devices do they bring? How many devices do they bring? Is our Wi-Fi set up in a way that allows for them to engage in a classroom setting, or to learn anywhere, or work anywhere, so that you can really traverse from here the hill to the edges of campus of the, in Dixon Plaza. and really stay connected and have one experience. And again, we navigate on the back end so that our customers can really drive their own success. And so the way that Richard is really envisioning this, and as you all know, Richard joined recently from JPL as our newest member of the team, is really thinking about a few core tenets, being a strategic, trusted partner. Trust is not just in what we say, but it's in what we do. And part of those decisions we talked about at the very top of this section is we're part of that decision over whether that experience is excellent. And the services in this group, whether it's connecting and collaborating and how easy it is to meet online, or to, again, as we mentioned, connect up to our Wi-Fi services as 2 examples. And so being that trusted partner that we see, we hear, we're learning, we understand the changes and we know how to solve those problems. And even better, for extra bonus points, we're working together and we're talking about that so that we're road mapping together. The ultimate goal here is to increase that reliability and modernization. And if we do it well, no one really notices because it just works and it's seamless. In the back end of that, it's really key foundational services for Digital Campus. You see all of the bottom lit up here. And that's because really at the heart of a lot of these initiatives are foundational network, our voice transformation, data center. Those are the heart of our resilience. How we can work from anywhere, how we can study and learn from anywhere, how we, in a disaster, can quickly pivot. And the way we do that is through really getting the most out of those investments that we've already made. So it doesn't stop with just a Digital Campus initiative. That's just the beginning. But also thinking about how we extend out that work through enabling new locations and how we do it, how we really think about how we show up. We talked about, again, shifting left, bringing ourselves really to the front of that story and thinking about how do we architect ways of working to do that is standardization, automation. Do we need to support everything, or do we need to support a suite of really, really well integrated good tools? And how do we look at everything we have and make the decisions to do that? When again, going back to the top, our focus is that seamless experience. That makes those trade-offs really easy. That makes those skills that we need to really focus on very, very clear for us. And the idea here is we're going to do that through cross collaboration. We acknowledge that infrastructure, can sometimes in some organizations be a part of the organization that's thought of as, something that's not seen, not touchable, not tangible to our customers. But in those incredible experiences where things work, where we've done the work to provide clear services to be able to work across the organization and just deliver, that's when we know it works. And so it starts with the foundations, as Richard's laying out here, get, as Jennifer says, brilliant at the basics, and then build. And one up with what Mikkel was talking about around ways of working. And to align with some of what Cameron and Hilda were talking about in terms of being agile and leveraging that data. This is the connective tissue that allows us to build on that other work. And we're really excited to bring lots of value through not only the Digital Campus, but also the operational work that this team does. And I know I speak for both Rich and I would say we're excited for what's to come. And that will go to Val. Val, thank you.
I wore my don't trip on the steps shoes today. I'm Valerie Valling, Technology Operations. Technology Operations is a new department in ITS. We're building this department on the solid foundation of the administrative IT units that were previously separate from ITS and actually customers of ITS before. So I was a customer of ITS for 10 years in housing and hospitality. So we're building this new department by migrating in these different departments. And you can see on the slide, housing, hospitality, events and transportation, facilities management, environmental health and safety, CHR, financial planning. I'd like all these people to raise their hands. Everybody, I'm not gonna make you stand up. Everybody raise your hand. Everybody here. We're missing a few people who are actually working, getting ready after spring break for the new dining halls and things. So building this team, we're bringing in these teams into the central ITS unit and building where we talk about cross-team collaboration. So really building all of the solid foundations of working directly with ITS, within ITS, being part of ITS,
and being able to standardize practices across through all of the different departments that we've seen so far, utilizing all of those resources where previously each IT unit was its own IT unit and had a set of techniques and processes and talents. Now we have the larger group here. So out of all the people raising their hands and then the rest of the people in the department, we have all of these resources now. So we're going to work on building cross collaboration among these departments, putting in extreme operational rigor and excellence throughout the teams, and then really working to build all of the relationships that we need to be able to address all of our business units and continue our excellent support of all of our administrative business units that have the 24/7 type operations, dealing with our conference centers, our housing, our students living on the Hill, dining plans, and all of our facilities and all of our environmental health and safety. And so as we do that, we're going to be looking at all of our products as we're bringing in these administrative units and looking at where some of those products may be parts of other ITS units and then migrating those into areas that they need to be to standardized processes, and then keeping within the business units themselves, the pods, those business products that work directly for those administrative units so that we continue the excellence that we have with those units. As we do that migration, we will also look at technology modernization. So talking a lot of talk about cloud first, taking things to hosted platforms where we'll still have governance and security around those, and then really building into standard processes, all of the security and best practices, change management office, project management, using all those tools and standard processes so we can just use those tools that are already established to do the work and really be more efficient and operationally, continue our excellence as we're going forward on that. I can't see the timer now, so I think I'm okay. Okay, thank you. And then cloud strategy, not adoption. And I think I've said a couple of times here, moving things to the cloud doesn't solve all the problems. We want to move to the correct versions of cloud and then put all the governance in that we need there as well. So, but that it solves a lot of problems about platform and different things with the cloud first. And then working with Digital Foundry as we go through our different processes and product owners, project managers, but really looking at how we set ourselves up in ITS for the future and really building our operational excellence and rigor. And with that, I will turn back to Lucy Abbatusia.
Thank you for your patience. We're still looking for your feedback, so we'll get back to them. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. I think you probably all know Michael Beck, but I'm honored to introduce our leader and our guest speaker, Michael Beck. He is the Administrative Vice Chancellor for the university. Since 2016, Michael has played a pivotal role at UCLA, overseeing a wide range of administrative, operational, and service units with an annual operating budget of over $900 million and more than 5,200 employees throughout the university. His portfolio includes campus human resources, the central ticket office, environment, health and safety, events and transportation, facilities management, financial and organizational services, housing and hospitality, and of course, IT services. Oh, and UCLA Police Department. Michael's tenure at UCLA has been marked by significant achievements in campus safety and security, service improvements, operational efficiencies, customer-centric services, system automations, strong fiscal management, and the addition of 5,200 new beds of student housing. Before joining UCLA, Michael served as the city manager for Pasadena, where he managed the city's government and its substantial operating budget. His extensive experience also includes roles as assistant and deputy city manager for the city of Riverside and positions at UC Riverside, where he also completed his education, earning both a BA in business economics and an MBA. Michael's commitment to the UC system extends beyond his professional life. He and his wife, Bridget, are proud parents of 4 sons, all of whom have attended the UC campuses, including UCLA and UC Berkeley. It's an honor to welcome Michael, who will be sharing some of his thoughts related to our administration's strategic priorities, and then we'll sit down and ask some questions that you have submitted previously. So I have a set of questions that came from some of you, which I appreciate, and we'll go through a Q&A session. Thanks, Michael.
Perfect, thank you. It's great to be here. I'm going to try and speak briefly because I really want to get to the questions that you have, because I think that's the really most important part. But as we focus on sort of where we are in administration, where we're at the university, we start with the sort of core grounding associated with the mission of the university. And is there not a cooler mission that we have than what UCLA's mission is, right? It's creating knowledge for the betterment of the global society, right? That means creating doctors, creating engineers, creating philosophers, creating just everything you can imagine. UCLA is preparing great minds in an effort for them to create the new discovery and new thoughts and new capabilities in the future. And guess what? When we look at the vision for administration, right? As I say sort of simply, we're the foundation that enables that to happen. Without administration, without all of you in the room, none of that is possible. It's not possible to create the next new drug that's going to make, change the lives of millions of people, or the cure for cancer, or new other immunotherapy type medications that are going to change the lives of humans. Not possible without the foundational elements of the administration team and all of the folks here in this room. So I just get so excited when I think about what our role is and how we're contributing, not just to UCLA, not just to Los Angeles or California, United States, but what we do touches the entire global population. Saying, Michael, how is that possible? But it is, if we think about all the pieces that you do and all of those building blocks that enable possible. So when we think about the diversity of all the things that we do across administration, and we come across recognizing that everybody touches their work and other people in so many different ways, we came across this common purpose, right? Which is all of us have a common calling together, which is to create exceptional Bruin experiences, regardless of what we do, regardless of whether we're part of John's team and we're frontline, literally helping people on the phone, helping people directly in contact, or we're behind the scenes, making sure the infrastructure, making sure the facilities, or making sure any of the environment is there, enabling somebody to have an exceptional Bruin experience. That's what we're all about. That's why we're here. And I believe that's why you're here as well. And so I like to get super excited about that because I think it's just amazing what all of you do that enable the mission and the success of the university. And when we talk about UCLA being the #1 public university in the country, that's not possible without all of you and all the folks, your colleagues across administration. And we do that in a way of moral grounding as we look at our true Bruin values, or the values for administration, which follow the true Bruin values, right? We're doing this not at any cost. We're doing this in a way in which wraps around the way in which we have commitments and obligations to the people we serve, the people we work with. And that's how we focus our attention on our work. So with that, I'll move really quickly. Whoops, went the wrong way. That's where I want to be. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Sorry, I was ad-libbing and then I realized we have a whole PowerPoint. Identify what I'm supposed to talk about. So let's go back. So when we look at all of that was a sort of the foundation for where our strategic priorities for the institution are going forward for administration, right? And so we focus on a couple really core fundamental areas in the institution. One is this concept of data-driven decisions, right? An effort for us, or for me, for other managers or leadership to make the right decision for the institution, right decision that's going to change the world in the future. We have to have the right information and the best information. And so we have to utilize data in a way in which we've never utilized it on this campus before, in an effort for us to get the right understanding of the facts and the potential that the impact of certain decisions will have on the future. And that's a fundamental part of where we're driving in as part of the administration. And each of the departments across the administration have goals associated with these particular priorities.
And then technology optimization. We recognize the fact that a lot of what we do is really driving sort of an efficient and an effective organization. And the best way to do that is obviously eliminating administrative bloat and other hurdles that are developed over time. But it's also automating things that should be automated. So we can take advantage of the knowledge and ability of individual humans across our organization to contribute their thoughts and mind and work and what they do. And so automating as much of the sort of redundant and work that is sort of somewhat thoughtless is part of the fundamental aspect of how we look going forward, so we can take more advantage of the brilliant minds that we have throughout our organization. And then focusing again on this reality of our workforce itself, right? We've got to create a sustainable workforce in multitude of ways. One is making sure that each of our employees are feeling a sense of belonging with our institution, feeling a sense of belonging with their team, having the opportunities to grow and develop themselves and mature in their own personal and professional development, and giving us an opportunity to grow as we continue to focus on transition and succession planning and other elements, is continue to do that within our organization and make sure that our work practices support the needs of the employees so that they're in a better position to meet the needs of the clients and organizations that we serve. All of that wrapped around doing all of what we do in a way that creates exceptional Bruin experiences focused around the fact that we as an organization are a service organization, and focusing what we do around that concept and making sure that we're thinking about how we can always improve and develop that service in whatever we do and able to support that fundamental aspect of the campus, the foundation that meets the mission. So that's all I have. So hopefully that was a helpful overview. And then I'm happy to take some of the questions that you've sent in. So thank you for sending them in, and thank you for allowing me to be here today. And thank you for all the amazing work that you do.
We have several questions. So the first submission was, where do you see the most potential to collaborate across administration on the 2026 strategic priorities?
Yeah, so I would say some of the things we just chatted about when we look at data in particular, and really have the ability to be cross-departmental. And in fact, all of the strategic priorities are designed to be cross-departmental, right? The only way, if we try to focus on achieving our objectives in a siloed environment, we're never going to be as successful as we can by engagement with not just the other departments within administration, but with the clients and customers for which we serve is a fundamental part of that. So when we look at the priorities in the strategic plan, we should always be thinking about how can we engage in other administrative departments or units or even departments across the campus, because that is, I think, a fundamental part of what we do. And each of the elements, I think, are designed to be really cross-departmental and cross-disciplinary, even within your own team.
Thank you for that. And I forgot to mention that earlier today, we talked about 5 strategic goals and how those cascade to administrative priorities and ITS goals. How do you track and measure the success of your strategic?
So I wish this was a little more sophisticated. So this is a part of what we talked about before, developing better data that enables us to make better decisions. So the strategic plan currently is managed with each department has a certain number of initiatives or objectives that they're responsible for initiating and develop. Each of those are developed by each of the departments. And the tracking is the success of each of those initiatives, right? That's not very scientific. And most of you who've dealt with strategic planning in the past, it doesn't actually measure whether or not we're achieving the ultimate outcome where the goal was grounded on. So that's part of why what we're doing and part of the goal of focusing particularly on data is going to help us so we can actually be more scientific as when we look at how we measure the success. And when we look at the UCLA strategic plan, we actually have a subcommittee It's actually specifically designing KPIs for the institution. So we can measure ultimately what we're doing as to whether or not it's moving the needle. So for instance, if one of the goals is to enhance the throughput graduation rate or the throughput of the students, right? Get them from an average of it's 4.8 years, the graduation, you want to get it to 4 years. So you can measure it against that statistic. What we don't do today, and what we want to do, is actually measure the change that we implement in an effort to improve that. Is it actually improving the outcome? And that's going to come from the collection of new data. And that's one of the reasons why we created the special subcommittee under Goal 5, is to actually help the university overall develop new KPIs that we can measure not only against ourselves, but actually against our peer institutions.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing UCLA, and how are we positioned to address it?
So there's two big challenges we have. One is that we're too successful, right? We say no to 135,000 students every year, right? And that's immensely painful as a state institution. And so I think we have to acknowledge that that's a challenge, but we're also on the smallest physical campus in the system. So we're not going to add tens of thousands of more students here and have success. So part of that outcome is focusing on how can we bring in a couple thousand additional students, but they won't physically be located on the campus at any given point in time. So we would do education abroad, education in South Bay, education downtown, but there'll still be students in Westwood. It's just that part of their educational experience will be somewhere else. And if you have those 2,000 students floating at any given point in time, you can actually accept more students. I would say fundamentally, the biggest challenge we have, unfortunately, is financial, right? The state for decades has not funded the University of California in general to the level that it needed to ensure continuation of the level of excellence. UCLA has been enormously creative in using much of its prestige and ingenuity to come up with additional revenue sources that enables it to backfill. The state, in their wisdom, has stifled some of those options. That includes international students from out of state, which pay a much higher tuition. And what people miss is that what they're paying, when you have a single out-of-state student paying that tuition, they actually generate more money than the cost of that student. And so we can actually bring in another in-state student that they're not assisting with. And so that is unfortunately missed. I've always said I can manage any organization, or we can manage any organization. We can at least control one side of the ledger. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't control either side of the ledger. And so that is, I think, a serious risk that we need to share and own and understand. But it means we have to drive efficiency and effectiveness in a way that we've never done so before. Because I do believe we can continue to be the excellent institution and continue to strive. But this is going to be a fundamentally different financial experience than the institution has experienced previously. I want to say the same good for UCLA, is we have a better foundation and experience for working our way out of this, but this is going very different.
Thanks. I have a follow-up question for that one. I'm just curious if you could maybe give an example of how would it move it? What do you foresee happening in order for that?
So two ways. One is I'm trying desperately not to have one way, which I think people will inevitably feel differently. We're already seeing this a little bit. Is we do not sort of maintain the custodial grounds in the same way that we did, 3 or 4 years ago, right? It happens incrementally, and so the movement can still walk around campus and guests can say this is a beautiful campus and it's well kept. I do worry about our ability to continue to maintain it in that way. But I think the other reality that we can see, which is maybe more optimistic, is the more we can focus and utilize technology to shift costs from non-direct academic and sort of teaching and learning support, so add sort of administrative functions into sort of teaching and learning, which could actually be administrative functions that support it better. But the more we can do that, and I think we have to do that, and so we're going to see more ingenuity and new creativity in the way in which administration delivers our programs to support the campus overall. And, that probably means a very significant investment in AI, which they might be creating a better experience than we do now. I love the initiative that Lucy and all of you are folks on, which is, that what broadly referred to as the student experience. And we're very inefficient at the university and very federated. And so as we improve and reduce the costs, I think we can actually improve the way we deliver service. So I think you'll see some of these things that may be less exciting, like cleanliness, and other things that can be much more exciting about, the experience that people have and the engagement of the learning environment.
Thanks for sharing that. UCLA has probably been the #1 public university for the last 7 years in a row. How will UCLA continue to differentiate itself from other higher education institutions, and what steps are we taking to maintain or enhance that competitive?
So, right, when you're #1, there's only one way to go. And it's probably about, it's super exciting when you go to 2-1, it's less exciting when you go to 1-2. Right? So it's always on our mind, right? So I would say the thing that we're doing is actually what's happening in the education lab is super exciting. When I say all the things you're doing is super exciting and is going to enhance our ability to continue to be the #1 institution. So your success, I think, becomes a university success. But when I look at, quantum sciences and the development of the new UCLA research park and how that's going to, enable AI and other high computing computational functions in the future, or Institute of Immunology and Immunotherapy, or these things are just going to be unbelievably transformative for UCLA and the entire world, right? I mean, we're not just building an Institute of Immunology and Immunotherapy, for anyone who doesn't know what that is. That's building designer drugs that target specific illnesses, reduce the side effect, and eliminate diseases on a targeted basis by reversing the cell engineering in an effort to cure unbelievable diseases, right? And that's super exciting. But anyway, when we look at these things, we're changing not just what's happening in UCLA, we're changing again the way the world can survive, and so those are in some ways in which UCLA will continue to see it as #1. And one more thing, because I'm saying the focus that you are now starting with the focus on student experience will highly contribute to that ability to speak. When I look at one of the enormous ranks, and one of the very popular rankings UCLA has is for student food, right? Which is on, often higher. UCLA are #1 in the country for like 8 out of the last 9 years for food. I don't know what you have for lunch, but the lunch that the students have, if you have ever a chance to eat in the dining hall, right? There's a bunch of 5-star restaurants in Hawaii that eat that, right? I mean, it's just an amazing experience. And when we take that as an example and wrap that around all their teaching and learning experiences, we will always be #1.
So how does IT support administration student goals? What are the things that IT can do, not just on ours, but of course on the administration? they're in there, whether it's data-driven decision-making or technology modernization, are there things that, key things in mind that we can do to enable the accomplishments that you are looking?
First of all, we can't accomplish any of them without ITS being successful, which is why we've invested so much in ITS. And we need you to be successful, whether it's the launch, whether it's the launch of the just yesterday or the day before, of the new iSIMs, or a couple of weeks ago, JD Expert, or whether it's Google by Plus, or whether it's Ascend or Facet, or whatever other technology you're deploying for the infrastructure, which is, just a huge, it's such an incredible piece of what enables us to go forward. There's so many things that even you as an organization that want to do something, more exciting, make it more exciting, and which you can't even do until we get the foundation of the IT system and network completed, or focus on the foundations to enable even the cybersecurity systems are in place to be able to enable us to succeed. So, everything we're doing is enabling the success. And you sort of mentioned Bruin Voice. So look at Bruin Voice, right? We live in a hybrid environment. Now the phone follows me wherever I go. Oh, if you're working at home, it's there. If you're working in your office, it's there. What makes it come? Okay, at the end of the day, we're saving the departments $1 million a year by giving them that freedom. So when we talk about this issue of creating exceptional rural experiences, we're creating these exceptional rural experiences in a fiscally responsible manner that actually saves people money at the end of the day, that allows them to take those funds and put it into teaching and learning. That's amazing. And that's just the dozens of things that you're all working on is going to enable, us to meet our administrative strategic plan, the university's overall strategic plan.
That's fair enough, and I know a lot of the tools here. It's exciting to hear the higher leader. Fully aware, even our mobile days, my children are all the time, today, yesterday. Well, two more questions, Michael, and we've got some, be mindful of that. What's one piece of advice you wish you had received earlier in your career?
So that's I actually have been super super lucky to work for some amazing mentors from the very early time in my career. And I would say one of the things that I hope people see and recognize from me today is something that one of my earlier mentors really believed in and just set up that exemplary individual in this area is this reality that people really don't care what you know or what your position is until they know that you care, right? And if we don't manage at every level in our organization, every level in our community, in a caring and compassionate way, I just don't think we're going to be as successful as we can by being that way. And I think it's we just don't see that in every, every manager, or we just don't see that in every environment that we have the ability to work in. But I think the more that we understand it and the more we create that, the better off we are as managers and individuals and humans. As long as that would be one of the things that would be and something that I think we would all benefit from learning earlier. And quite honestly, I hope people can recognize and see that in me as a leader, and can see that empowers and enables the organization positive. And if you don't see that in me as a leader, please tell me, right? Because at the end of the day, I still lead. So I don't all do it, but that's part of the organization. So the one other thing, you probably have seen this yourself. The higher up you go in the organization, the less information you have. right? Because everybody, even if they're not intending to, everybody's protecting you from certain levels of information. So I want to ask the question, not what you want to share with me, what should you share with me that I need to know that nobody else is telling me? And that's what we all need to do a better job of doing, because we're always afraid. Lucy and I were on a call with another institution's leader who operates in a way that is different than the way we describe. And that leader did not get information that was critical to that leader's knowledge to be able to deal with the crisis, or potential crisis. Because everybody's afraid to tell them because of the way in which people react. And unfortunately, Lucy will know exactly what I'm talking about, but we'll leave it between the two of us. And that to me is really problematic, because we have to be a team. And so when you think about, why is Michael or why is Lucy making that decision, how can they possibly make that decision? Don't they know that's wrong for these 5 18? We made a decision based on the information we have. So always try to help you make sure we have all the information all the time. And if you see something that doesn't make sense to you, raise your hand. Right? And we can tell you, I appreciate this, I thought about that, and we're still going this way. Right? Whereas if you want, I've never thought about it, you're absolutely right, and we need to tweak it. Right? So that's, I think, an important part of how we learn theoretically as you become as you in your own career to develop as a manager. So the thing that's actually shocked me more at the end of my career than at the beginning of my career, and I don't know if you find this, but it's this issue of people protecting you from knowledge that you actually should have.
Yeah. It just made me think about, personally, I'm very impressed with anything I send you, even my feedbacks, you read everything, and you find always some very insightful questions to ask, and how do you find time for that? Because there's one of your organizations, you have 8 more, and so trying to figure out how do you manage your time. You always do everything.
So there's the balance. I know a lot about, I know a little about. I think at my level, that's my goal, try and know a little bit about a lot of things, so that I can hopefully, I don't know that I call it adding value as much as being able to ask the questions to ensure that we've been thinking about things for the push a little harder than you might otherwise be. So for me to be an advocate, and so for me to have to often know enough about what you and the other units are doing, so that I can understand that and contribute to it. But they also, we always live in a federated environment, even with an administration, it's not it doesn't cross through the organization as much as it can. So I view it as my role as a collaborator of information distribution. So I haven't know the actual fundamental part of the question, which is how, and I would say it's not manageable and don't handle it. But it is, it's how I live my life. Unfortunately, my family has adjusted as a result of that, and that was amazing. Why who quickly gets me, and so she didn't know when you have little kids, it's called parallel play. So she didn't want to like watch TV, and as long as I'm sitting on the couch doing my computer, that's okay. If I want my computer to get a room, that's not
That's okay. My last question, what are you most excited about for the coming fiscal year? And we're welcoming a new chancellor, coming fiscal year. What are you most excited about?
I'm not actually excited. I mean, I love Gene, he's been an amazing leader for UCLA, but I'm actually really excited about what the opportunity the new leader brings. And we actually get another leader, then the new CFO. And what I talked about earlier, some of the fundamental challenges we have is the new CFO is going to be the center of that, as to whether we succeed or fail at that, right? Because how we manage and distribute resources in a way which brings the highest returns on that investment is going to be paramount to our ability to succeed. So the combination between the chancellor and the CFO is probably what I'm sort of the most excited and anxious about, right? So I certainly know who the CFO is and how they're building the meet with them, and I'm excited about that leader. I don't know who the new chancellor is, although we might know the name, but it can be possible. And then we'll figure out where we go. And I've got to have confidence, right? At the end of the day, they're hiring a chancellor for UCLA. Right? This is should be one of the top academic individuals in the country that should be part of leading the UCLA environment. So I'm very excited, looking forward to it, and it'll bring a new set of challenges and opportunities, and a lot of great work for us to do. So.
Well, I know you have to go. I'm so appreciative of the time and for you to be so transparent and share big challenges we're experiencing. It's amazing. So thank you for your time and thanks for joining us today.
Jennifer's. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Michael Beck, for that great information. And thank you for coming. Good afternoon, everyone. Now is the time to do a team building activity. I know we got some feedback from the last time and it was successful, you know, building gingerbread houses, and everyone had so much fun collaborating and just enjoying, you know, being together. So this afternoon, we're going to do a challenge called Marshmallow Challenge. Now, if you're not aware of this game, you know, thousands of people have done this challenge, from kindergartners and top managers in several companies. So we're going to try it. So if you notice, there's a bag full of supplies that you'll need. The next one. So the object of the game is to build the tallest standing structure made from spaghetti sticks and marshmallows. So the object is it must stand on its own. And then at the top of it, you must put a marshmallow at the top of the structure. So in the bag, there are 20 sticks of spaghetti, there's tape, there's string, and a bag of marshmallows. I believe there should be scissors around, but if not, then if you can please share. There should be around like 4 to 5 people to do this activity. And if there's more of you who want to participate, then we should split up the teams and the tables. If you're lacking materials, please let me know, or any of my team members, and then they'll provide that for you. So there are rules. You have 15 minutes. I know it says 18, but it's 15 minutes to complete the structure. The entire marshmallow must be on top, as I mentioned. And you can break the spaghetti up, cut the tape, string, you know, whatever you need to create the structure. And the object is, it must stand on its own for 5 seconds at least. And once you're done, let me know. Well, at the end of the 15 minutes, our leaders will go around with rulers and actually measure your structures. And so the winner of the game
will come to me and then we'll have, a prize for you at the end. So we will have 15 minutes on the clock. Good luck, everyone. Okay, we have a winner, table 8 at 39 inches. Where's table 8? Oh, wow, I see it. And it is a ta-da, it's not falling. Okay, well, I really appreciate you all participating in this. Want to thank you for being here and enjoy the rest of the day.